Hey guys, welcome back to Mass Effect. Uh, as you can see, we're returning to the Codex series, and it's been quite a while, but that was mostly because I didn't really want to come back to this. I knew I was gonna, but I didn't want to. Uh, Also, you might hear crumpling of paper. That's because I made a list of stuff that we've looked at and haven't looked at, because I wasn't sure if the Codex entries would carry over properly or not. And for the most part they did, but I also did it because before I started making videos on Legendary Edition, I was going through and just hitting the mark all entries as viewed, and I might have accidentally did that a couple times, on things that we haven't looked at yet. So things that we haven't looked at might be marked as if we had looked at them. Anyhow, let's get started. Okay. The aliens, non-sapient creatures.
Thresher maws are subterranean carnivores that spend their entire lives eating or searching for something to eat. Threshers reproduce via spores that can lie dormant for millennia, yet are robust enough to survive prolonged periods in deep space and atmospheric re-entry. As a result, Thresher spores appear on many worlds, spread by previous generations of space travelers. The body of a Thresher never entirely leaves the ground. Only the head and tentacles erupt from the Earth to attack. In addition to physical attacks, Threshers have the ability to project toxic chemicals and emit bursts of infrasound as a shockwave weapon. The Alliance first encountered Threshers on the colony of Akuz in 2177. After contact was lost with the Pioneer team, Marine units were deployed to investigate. The shore parties were set upon by hungry Threshers, and nearly the entire assault force was killed. Alliance forces recommend engaging Threshers with vehicle-mounted heavy weapons.
Fun fact, I think it's about Akuz. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Akuz. With the Soul Survivor background, Shepard would have been deployed on Akuz during the Thresher Maw attack. As I said, it might not be Akuz, but the Soul Survivor background, Shepard's team gets wiped out by Thresher Maws, and Shepard is the only survivor of that, which is why it was called Soul Survivor. Okay, next we're going to Citadel and Galactic Government, and we're going to be going to Citadel Space.
The Citadel. Citadel space is an unofficial term referring to any region of space controlled by a species that acknowledges the authority of the Citadel Council. At first glance, it appears this territory encompasses most of the galaxy. In reality, however, less than 1% of the stars have been explored. Even Mass Effect FTL drive is slow relative to the volume of the galaxy. Empty space and systems without suitable drive discharge sites are barriers to exploration. Only the mass relays allow ships to jump hundreds of light years in an instant, the key to expanding across an otherwise impassable galaxy. Whenever a new relay is activated, the destination system is rapidly developed. From that hub, FTL drive is used to expand to nearby star clusters. The result is a number of densely developed clusters, thinly spread across the vast expanse of space, connected by the mass relay network.
Yeah, Citadel space is kind of not where we are. Like, the Citadel is clearly in Citadel space. That's why it's called Citadel space. But, Citadel space would cover the regions that are associated with the Citadel, which would be the Asari space, Turian space, Solarian space, human space, Volus space, which you could kinda say is also Turian space, Hanar space, and Elcor space. We kind of operate a little bit inside of human space, but mostly right outside of human space, if that makes a lot of sense. Probably it doesn't, but if it does. We operate mostly in the Terminus systems. Anyhow, from there, we are moving on to Humanity and the Systems Alliance. And we're doing one that I thought we covered, but apparently we didn't. Earth.
The home world and capital of humanity is entering a new golden age. The resource wealth of a dozen settled colonies and 100 industrial outposts flows back to Earth, fueling great works of industry, commerce, and art. The great cities are greening as arcology skyscrapers and telecommuting allow more efficient use of land. Earth is still divided among nation-states, though all are affiliated beneath the overarching banner of the Systems Alliance. While every human enjoys a longer and better life than ever, the gap between rich and poor widens daily. Advanced nations have eliminated most genetic disease and pollution. Less fortunate regions have not progressed beyond 20th century technology and are often smog-choked, overpopulated slums. Sea levels have risen 2 meters in the last 200 years, and violent weather is common due to environmental damage inflicted during the late 21st century. The past few decades, however, have seen significant improvement due to recent technological advances.
Well, environmental damage inflicted during the late 21st century. Okay. Yeah. Okay, let's, if it works with me, move on to, what's next? Ships and vehicles. Which one of these? FTL drive.
Faster-than-light drives use element zero cores to reduce the mass of the ship, allowing higher rates of acceleration. This effectively raises the speed of light within the mass effect field, allowing high-speed travel with negligible relativistic time dilation effects. Starships still require conventional thrusters, chemical rockets, commercial fusion torch, economy ion engine, or military anti-proton drive, in addition to the FTL drive core. With only a core, a ship has no motive power. The amount of ESO and power required for a drive increases exponentially to the mass being moved and the degree it is being lightened. Very massive ships or very high speeds are prohibitively expensive. If the field collapses while the ship is moving at faster than light speed, the effects are catastrophic. The ship is snapped back to sublight velocity, the enormous excess energy shed in the form of lethal Cherenkov radiation.
Okay, I have nothing to add to that, so let's move right along to military ship classifications.
Larger warships are generally classified in one of 4 weights. Frigates are small, fast ships used for scouting and screening of larger vessels. Frigates often operate in wolf pack flotillas. Cruisers are middleweight combatants, faster than dreadnoughts and more heavily armed than frigates. Cruisers are the standard patrol unit and often lead frigate flotillas. Dreadnoughts are kilometer-long capital ships mounting heavy, long-range firepower. They are only deployed for the most vital missions. Carriers are dreadnought-sized vessels that also carry large numbers of fighters. Smaller vessels are almost exclusively used in a support role to the warships during combat. Fighters are one-man craft used to perform close-range attacks on enemy ships. Interceptors are one-man craft optimized for destroying opposing fighters.
Again, I don't really have much to add except for these labels for the ship classifications. You know, carriers, dreadnoughts, cruisers, frigates, fighters, interceptors. Just because these labels exist doesn't necessarily mean that a built ship will fit perfectly into these labels. Like, I'm pretty sure, and let me look at my list here. Yeah, we've already talked about the Treaty of Ferrickson, where certain governments are allowed to build a certain number of dreadnoughts. Well, the human government is only allowed 1 dreadnought for every 5, I believe, Turian dreadnoughts. And I'm pretty sure what the Alliance said was, okay, we'll just make a bunch of cruisers. Which is kind of what happened in real life during one treaty. I think America did it, and they were limited on how many I think it was also dreadnoughts. It was some kind of military naval vessel, and I'm not too familiar with what the names of those. And what America, I think it was, did was they just made even more of the next best, but made them even larger. And they just called them whatever the next best was. And I think it would be battle cruiser after dreadnought, but again, I'm not familiar with naval vessels, so just because I say one thing doesn't necessarily mean that I'm correct. In any case, we're moving on to the Normandy.
The Normandy is a prototype starship developed by the Human Systems Alliance with the assistance of the Citadel Council. It is optimized for scouting and reconnaissance missions in unstable regions using state-of-the-art stealth technology. For most ships, the heat generated through standard operations is easily detectable against the absolute zero background of space. The Normandy, however, is able to temporarily sink this heat within the hull. Combined with refrigeration of the exterior hull, the ship can travel undetected for hours or drift passively for days of covert observation. This is not without risk. The stored heat must eventually be radiated, or it will build to levels capable of cooking the crew alive. Another component of the stealth system is the Normandy's revolutionary Tantalus drive, a Mass Effect core twice the standard size. The Tantalus drive generates mass concentrations that the Normandy falls into, allowing it to move without the use of heat-emitting thrusters.
Okay, I have really nothing to add to that, other than go Normandy. Let's move on to space combat.
Ship mobility dominates space combat. The primary objective is to align the mass accelerator along the bow with the opposing vessel's broadside. Battles typically play out as artillery duels, fought at ranges measured in thousands of kilometers, though assaults through defended mass relays often occur at knife fight ranges, as close as a few dozen kilometers. Most ship-to-ship engagements are skirmishes between patrol vessels of cruiser weight and below, with dreadnoughts and carriers only deployed in full-scale fleet actions. Battles in open space are short and often inconclusive, as the weaker opponent typically disengages. Once a ship enters FTL flight, the combat is effectively over. There are no sensors capable of tracking them, or weapons capable of damaging them. The only way to guarantee an enemy will stand and fight is to attack a location they have a vested interest in, such as a settled world or a strategically important mass relay.
Again, I'm not too knowledgeable on space combat, but yeah, that seems like it would make sense. You know, not engaging unless you have to. So I guess let's move on to weapons, armor, and equipment, and get Metagel out of the way.
Metagel is a common medicinal salve used by paramedics, EMTs, and military personnel. It combines several useful applications: a local anesthetic, disinfectant, and clotting agent all in one. Once applied, the gel is designed to grip tight to flesh until subjected to a frequency of ultrasound. It is sealable against liquids, most notably blood, as well as contaminants and gases. The gel is a genetically engineered bioplasm created by the CERTA Foundation, a medical technology megacorp based on Earth. Technically, Metagel violates Council laws against genetic engineering, but to date, it has proved far too useful to ban.
Okay, just a little bit of nitpicking from me. The reading here is wrong. It said, but to date, and the reading says, but so far. As I said, that's nitpicky stuff that I don't normally point out, but I wasn't expecting the game to have that kind of a mistake. Anyhow, I think we're gonna end it there. If you like the video, click the like button, dislike button. Subscribe if you feel so inclined. If you do subscribe, make sure you click on the bell so you can stay notified of any new videos. What is the thing I'm forgetting? Oh, share this with anyone who might be interested in Mass Effect. Or even if they're just interested in the science and history of fictional universes. send this to them too. uh, and I guess I'll see you in the next one.